since my baby left me.
Tom, Eugene, I wish you a warm welcome to BMW Motorrad. Welcome to Munich. We've got a few exciting days ahead of us here in Munich. We're going to see plenty of town as well as plenty of BMW in general. And what would be a better way to explore Munich on our heritage, the R18. I would like to introduce you to Roland Stocker, who is the project leader and I would say the spiritual father of the bike.
Warm welcome also from my side. It's a super pleasure to have you here. And this is our latest baby. And this is our big R18. And I'm super happy to introduce you a little bit to the motorcycle. So it's a boxer like you see. And it's the biggest boxer we ever built. It's 1800 cc. And the version what you see here is packed with a lot of accessory parts. We want to make sure that you have plenty of parts to make the bike yours, to individualize the bike and really to find your own style. That's why we offer different handlebars and different parts and really to make it special, make it yours. So, but later on, after this, we're gonna for a ride, and therefore you will ride the first edition. Do you have any specific question to this bike?
No, I mean, I'm a fan of the boxer engine anyway, so of course for me, I'm very excited to get to ride, like you said, the biggest boxer engine you've produced. So yeah, when do we start?
Right, go boys, have fun, safe travel.
Hi guys! Could there be a better place to show up with these bikes than BMW Group Classic? You might know the grandfather of these bikes is still living here, the R5. It's over there. I think you will see it in a few moments. And the other thing is that this place is a place where the very first boxer engine was born. So it's a perfect match with these bikes and you. And I think my colleagues will show you around in a couple of minutes, and you will see or hear all about the history where this bike is coming from.
Should we move in the building? Because I think your time is limited, and so we have something to show you.
So this is just a small part of our collection.
1921. Well, I think one special car we have to point out, that's the famous 507 that was built also in the 50s. Only 250?
51.
51 cars were ever built, and the most special one is to the right of you.
This one.
Look at the license plate. This car was owned by Elvis Presley.
Oh yeah. Well, since my baby left me.
Exactly.
This is right up my street then.
Yeah.
We're
The one for you, Tom.
Yeah, I need to be going down the strip in Vegas, you know. Obviously, clearly I've got the hair for it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got the voice.
Oh, cheers, thank you.
And they're wigs, no problem.
Yeah.
That is now the original condition in white, and there's a story because the car was delivered in white, and Elvis Presley presumably had it painted in red. Can you think why?
No.
Open the reason.
There's a reason, yeah. Because all the girls left lipstick marks on the car, and he was annoyed by that.
I mean, we all have the same problem, do you know what I mean? But is that the reason?
Well, that's the story.
That's a legend, at least. No, it said like every morning he came out and then he got like messages written with lipstick on it. He said, "Oh no, I don't want this anymore. I just painted it."
That car was built for hill racing, but it's based on the 700. So it has also a boxer engine,
That's brilliant.
high power output, but of course you can see it's a race car.
So it's completely lightweight car. It doesn't even have a speedometer, it just has the rev counter.
Yeah.
So we added this stuff in order to get a registration for the road, to drive this on classic car rallies. And it's quite fun to drive as well.
That is brilliant. I'd love to. Am I okay to take a photo of this, or is it not?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
I think that.
No confidential stuff anymore.
I like that.
There's a copper nut and washer just sitting loose.
Yeah, she's a
Spares.
little boxer engine.
And that's the E30. And the E30 in the racing version as E30 M3 is still nowadays the most successful touring car ever.
And the intake noise is the most spectacular one.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you recognize those cars like from miles away just from the intake noise.
Yeah, that's engineering. That is, yeah.
And then there's one story with this car that I have to, because
This
I guess
one.
you're the right guys to tell. There was a race in Nuremberg where all of the 3 junior team members crashed, other cars themselves. So, and as a special measure, the head of motorsport said, okay, next race, you will watch it from the spectator view, and we'll have the experienced guys racing to show you how to race, probably not crash the cars. So this measure was not very successful because the experienced drivers crashed as well.
So better you just keep that car parked there then.
Okay, then let's take a look at our motorcycle vault. Over here we built motorcycle engines, the boxer engines, the very first, before we even did produce motorcycles ourselves. So this is one of our customers back then, Victoria. They used our engine, but in a different position. So BMW did not invent motorcycles, but BMW invented another approach, because if you look at the geometry of the frame, this is more or less a bicycle with a motorcycle engine put in.
Yeah.
And BMW, at a certain point, they thought, okay, we're building the heart of a motorcycle. Why don't we build a whole motorcycle ourselves? But with a different approach. So they had the whole engine with gearbox and drive shaft, and then they built a motorcycle around it with a different geometry, which you could, for example, look over here. This was one of the very first BMW bikes, so you recognize that the geometry is getting quite similar to what we know now.
Yeah.
And right next to it, that's the R5 concept. So what the guys at Motorcycle Design did, they had an R5 engine, and then they built a custom bike around it and showed this one at another Concours d'Elegance. And this was the path to what is now the R18. So you arrived with the R18. This is a test mule of the R18. So this is how they tested the R18 on the roads. So you might recognize some similarities, but then it's different as well.
I tell you what, these they're definitely a big fan of the R18. It's, I think. Do you want me to road test this one today as well? Well, I've got.
It doesn't have a license plate.
But actually, that's a minor detail from where I'm from. Yeah, that would.
And this is
That's beautiful.
a very special bike. So this is the bike that won the Dakar in '85 with Gaston Rayet on it.
Interesting in what way? Because of the sponsors, or?
Yeah, you can choose between Playboy and Penthouse over there.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So this was '84. This was '85. And have you ever saw a picture of Gaston Rayet?
No. Well.
Gaston Rayet was that size.
Really?
So what he did is, back then, when he started his bike, so he did it.
Yeah.
Went in first gear, let the clutch go, and then he jumped on the bike. This was the only possibility for him to start the bike. And you might see that over here, or on the other side, those welding stuff is not very good.
Yeah.
The reason is, at the Dakar Rally back then in '85, on one of the first stages, even in France, still in France, he had a big crash. Because the spectators back then in France, they switched the red lights to red in order to get closer to the riders. And Rayet knew about this, and he didn't care about the red lights. He just kept going. But at one red light, he hit a car.
Oh.
So he managed to go back on the bike again, and then each night the mechanics were repairing, welding the bike, because you weren't allowed to swap bikes during the Dakar Rally. Otherwise, you would be disqualified.
Dear me.
So in this bike, in fact, could be recognized easily in the desert, because it already left 2 tracks during the whole race.
I've got my safety equipment on, so There we go.
So ready to go. That's the road book.
I tell you what, the foot pegs are very short.
Yeah, that will be for him to fit on now.
Let's finish with one very special exhibition piece. This is the very first, really, this is number one. This is engine number one. You see from the number, this is 25. 25 was not the capacity, 25 was the code, the development code back then, but this is number 001.
So,
And the
100
thing
years.
is that this engine belongs to a collector in New Munich, and he gave it to us because this year is 100 years of Boxer engine.
Yeah.
And in fact, this was never used in a motorcycle, but this was used for decades.
Hang on a minute, you
For
mean
what?
to
It
say-
was used for decades at a farm as a waste pump.
Well, thank you very much for visiting us here at BMW Group Classic. I hope you had fun seeing all the cars, all the motorcycles and the history of our company.
Yeah, I love history and motorsport, so for me that's the best part.
Perfect.
Yeah, so thank you both very much for your time. It was an excellent tour.
Hey guys!
Fancy, how are we doing?
Tom, how are you
Fancy
doing?
seeing you.
How are
Yeah.
you? How are you?
Good to see you.
All
Good to
good?
see you.
Already on the beers?
We
Wow.
are too. Yes, great. So how was your day today?
Today's been a fantastic day, thank you. Yeah, we've been to see the BMW Classics, which was a great history lesson in itself.
Great.
Then being around
Riding the R18 as well. How was it riding the R18? It's a little bit different bike from your normal.
I would say quite a bit different, but for me is fantastic. It's a bike which I think we've both enjoyed riding. A bike which is where you can just sit back, enjoy your emotion, just enjoy pure riding. And what better way to see the whole of Munich than on the R18? Yeah, fantastic day.
Probably ideal to come down from a stressful race weekend.
Yeah, that's it. Whenever we ride bikes, we like to ride bikes in this position, relaxed. Not the racing position. We like to just sit back in the R18, kick in the sides. It's cool.
The end of the day with a nice and very beer.
The only way.
Let's give it a go. Best we can anyway, boys.
So,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys. Cheers. Oh yeah. I see what you're saying, lad.
It's good, eh?
It's a quiet taste. Yeah.